welcome to this week's episode of The Adventures of the Windswift. The full crew is here, present and accounted for. Some are a little bit more snowballed in than others, and we will find out exactly what that means when we do our review. So, Dice of Destiny, who's going to do the review? Number 2, that's me. Crikey. All right. So last week on the Windswift, our intrepid crew had managed to split the party in 2 ways. Saket was wandering around speaking to drunken sailors and gathering all kinds of information about the Saket, or the Sajet, I should say, empire. It's not yet hers. The Sajet empire, and some strange goings-on in a bay somewhere out on the far side of the planet. Nonetheless, she snuck aboard a Sajeti military ship, stole some items that she refused to pay for earlier because she's just that kind of dirty thief, and is now currently making her way towards the 3 druids who are on a hill. Why are 3 druids on a hill? Well, for the very good reason that they have entombed, that is, completely encapsulated in frozen water, the entire Windswift ship, as well as Dr. Con, Adrasai, Jorik, and Blaxton, who have just defeated...
There's one more person on board the ship.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, there's a crazed shipsmith in the bowels of the ship, Fangvir, as well as a very traumatized lizard folk who once was a gnome. That's a complicated story. Go and watch some other episodes on that one. And they've just defeated, mauled, brutally murdered in cold blood without any provocation whatsoever, a completely and utterly innocent member of the old nobility. That's right, there has been a communist uprising where the plebs have taken over, slaughtering this poor vampire in his prison, which was a trap, I believe. There we go. And so now our crew finds themselves, the 4 of them anyway, are outside, well, 3 of them are outside the ship. In this giant snowball. The 3 druids have created this tomb around the Windswift, and that's pretty much where we pick up the story of the catastrophic destruction of the once lost, now definitely gone, 9th Dark Duke of the Kingdom of Drakenmoore.
I was scared that you would say of the Windswift.
Yeah. Welcome to
the Duke has really just been updated as to where everyone else is on his live front.
This episode will be called Under the Sea.
Yeah, well,
hopefully not for long.
Entirely on what happens. So we're going to kick it off straight away with that very vague sort of summation. You can read Jenny's wonderful review summation in the comment box below. She writes that for us every week. Go and have a gander at that if you want to have actual accurate information without so much GM propaganda against the players. Anyway, Saket, you are crawling along the great dock outside of the large city of Denethwold, that massive tree-grown structure, heading towards the cluster of 3 druids, one of whom had her hands extended out and was freezing over that giant water sphere that had encompassed the Windswift. She has now frozen it completely over. And the 3rd druid is stepping forward, and you can see she's ready to raise her hands to do something. What, you're not sure. What are you doing?
I don't know if I was sneaking. I think I was running.
With that crate of explosive healing potions.
Yeah, careful.
Carefully running. Carefully running.
Very carefully.
Carefully running as fast as I can.
Yeah.
This is
I think I'm going to have to shout. Wait! Sorry. Hang on a moment. Don't know what you're doing, but kind of need you to stop.
My ship?
Hello? My ship? My crew
the one
members?
druid who has very short, very cropped hair, and you kind of feel she could possibly be Lieutenant Jasani's sister, looks down at you and she says, "This is official druid business."
Yes, but I have official order business, and you're kind of killing my fellow captains are on there, and no one said anything about putting it in an ice ball, did they?
This was discussed with Captain Con and Captain Blaxton, and it was agreed to that this action should be taken.
They didn't discuss it with us, and they're on board the boat.
Captain Blaxton gave us an hour to wait, at which time he said he would signal us should things require our
Did he
intervention.
actually signal you at any point
There
there?
was a giant blast of holy energy out of the side of the ship just below the waterline. We took that as a symbol of him having failed to detain the Duke within the ship. We
Well,
have
technically they're right.
to prevent that from happening.
I'm not sure you've read
No.
that. That could have been him killing the Duke for you. I'm sure he's... I don't think this is a good course of action. I think I'm going to have to go and melt the ball. I mean, If
you try to interfere with our actions, and in so doing, release a vampire onto the island of Sanctuary, you
can kill him. You can kill him.
A
It's
traitor
fine.
to the Druids. This is a course of action that was decided upon by your captains, whether they chose to share it with you or not is a failure of your communications within your own internal systems. If you're that worried about them, all we need to do is wait for another 5 hours and the sun will come up, and then we will release the ship from its prison.
And will anybody on the ship still be alive when you do that?
Provided that they can survive in sub-zero temperatures, I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine if they have actually managed to defeat the vampire. On the other hand,
I don't think they can do that.
I suspect we're going to find is 4 drained corpses and then one very large vampire waiting for the sun to go down.
They don't grow when they drink blood. Like, that's not a... Sorry. It's just like...
I think you're wrong. And I'm
The
trying
mosquitoes.
to be reasonable here. I really am trying to be reasonable here. And I know what you're going to think, what I'm going to do next is completely traitorous. But I can promise you I'm not going to let them release the vampire dude thing. And I just need to go and check they're okay.
You will not interfere with our sphere in any way. We will
This is
not
not
risk the
going my way.
lives of everybody on this island in exchange for 4 people who voluntarily
you-
went aboard that vessel.
Honestly telling me that all the druids on this island can't come together to defeat one vampire. One vampire.
One tiny vampire.
This is
Who hasn't-
one of the great lords of the vampire nations. I will not risk
Yes.
a single death at the hands
It
of
wasn't
your
too bad.
maybe.
But you've just risked 4.
They are not ours.
I did more damage to me than he
Well,
did.
one of them is because Captain Con is a druid and your argument has loads of holes in it.
He is a member of the Hastari. That
But
means
he's
he
also
has
a druid.
taken his ties to the Druid Isles. If you want to get into technical details. But the bottom line is, touch our sphere, and you'll find yourself imprisoned along with them.
You can get me on board the boat?
No, but we can create more.
I'd rather you put me on the boat.
She just glares at you.
Oh God, I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble here. Right. I'm just gonna go down to the dock.
With my explosive
Bear with
bottle.
you at your peril.
Yeah. I've got about less than a minute to do what I need to do. If you just let me have a go at saving my rest of my lovely captains, and then you can refreeze it.
I have issued the warning to you. How do you know that they haven't been bitten by the vampire and turned into his thralls?
Well, they've managed to avoid it so far. And there's 4 against 1, and they're pretty resourceful.
And you're willing to
And
risk
there's
the
Blaxton
entire
on board
colony
who
on
had
that
and he's got armor on. And the last time I left him, he did not look like he was going to take any shit about anything. In fact, he was definitely looking quite cross about something. Possibly this. And slightly determined.
Slightly.
Okay, very
For Blaxton.
very, very, very determined to do something. I think he may have even put armor on.
On the Blaxton scale of determination, it was about a medium.
Okay,
We'll leave
fair
you.
enough.
We'll come back to the ship. And Adrisai, you're on board. You've seen everyone go out the window or out the hole.
I'm sitting in the aft, what's it called again? Ballista?
Right, that's right.
So staring down at the exploded vampire far below.
Black sludgy remains that is now sort of swirling around in the remaining water.
Tar ball.
I say, is everyone all right?
Yes.
No.
Do you change out of shark form?
Yeah, I did already.
No water left, right? Anyway.
Correct.
Flopping on the bottom.
So it's really dead then?
It would appear so.
Jorik? Is he really, really dead? Like super extra dead?
I think so.
All right. I'll see if I can get out and tell the druids to stop.
That may be problematic.
Let's see. Can I see through this ice ball at all?
It's completely opaque.
Here's another question. It's a ball, right?
Ball is an inaccurate term. It's more like an
Potato.
egg. Yeah. It from where you're standing, it looks like a complete.
Okay, my question.
Its entire ship.
The reason why I asked is, can we get back onto board, or does Adosai actually need to give us a letter, like throw a letter down?
No, so although the Windswift isn't a very deep hulled vessel anyway, so you can get to you can sort of trudge along the sludge. And then there are rungs up the side that you would have used.
Okay. So if you can get in, then
yeah.
Is it already cold?
It is starting to get very. Breath is starting.
Okay, because like Sub-Zero is like from here until there, right? Yeah. So the question is like, is it Sub-Zero that I would be accustomed to? I mean, I'm wet right now, so that sucks. I know, but like, is it Sub-Zero or is it like
it's
zero?
It's getting a lot cold. It's probably about 10 degrees now as the sphere is settling. It's getting
Fahrenheit or Celsius?
It's dropping.
Are we talking Fahrenheit?
No,
Kelvin?
Celsius.
Flash freeze.
Right. Yeah, degrees Celsius. The temperature is definitely dropping.
Okay, Celsius. Okay, then 10 degrees actually means something that is quite okay.
Pleasant.
Right.
So,
Can I sense my anchor? My teleport anchor?
Can you sense teleport?
I don't need to see it. I only need to be within like 120 feet.
That's very interesting. Roll an initiative check for me, please. Let's just see where.
Roll a death save. Oh no way.
16.
16. You can sense it, yes.
All right. Then I blink to it.
All right. Jorik suddenly vanishes.
Oh dear. Was that on purpose?
Yes.
I don't know.
what's on purpose? What's happened now?
Jorik just disappeared. Are you all right? Can you see?
It disappeared in a pink fluff.
Well,
maybe you should come on board, and I'll try to find some blankets or
Yeah.
something.
we're en route. Try firing the ballista at the ice.
She did already, didn't she?
I fired it sort of next to you people. I don't know if that
Yeah,
hit
you
the
shot
ice.
it down in the water
Yeah.
when there was still water.
It
Yeah.
was very.
Fired into the water. Correct.
I mean, I might be able to break it with an MU charge, but I'm not sure that they would take that as us or him.
Let's first. We forgot about somebody.
Yeah. No, I'm going to head down to the ship up next.
That's not the person I meet. He might be a little bit angry with us. Jonathan. Con.
What?
You know the shipwright?
You left the shipwright? Oh, damn it! I just run to head downstairs to see if he's all right.
All right, so you're going to go and look for the shipwright. Jorik, you appear on the dock side. Kate, you see Jorik appearing there.
Drenched in water.
Drenched in water, yeah.
Dear God. Okay,
And
somehow
visibly
all
shaking.
3 other druids are so focused on the spell that's currently being cast on this Windswift, they do not see Jorik appearing. This is how a vampire could take over the entire island. Apparently, druids have 0 sense of actual...
Passive.
I shout.
Stop!
Oh, actually, I can't do that because I'm holding the Ankh thing. But stop!
I've got to go.
Yeah.
They aren't even paying you.
Do we need to?
They're busy.
I'm going to
I
go.
don't hear him shouting.
Well, Well, they do.
How far
but
away are they?
They are over and done with people trying to interfere. Well, she is anyway. No, they're about, from the dock, they're about 70 feet or so.
17 feet?
70 feet. They're a long.
Then I run up to them, grab her collar and shake her and say, "Stop! We killed him!"
You're going to start running up towards her. All right.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. Saket, you're running towards Jorik.
In slow motion. So.
What? Like, huh?
Yeah, and then there's a trip, and then there was
Don't crash into me, please.
You're both healed.
Covered in glass.
No.
So, yeah, you two meet halfway. Do you say anything to each other?
What the
Yeah, we
blazes
killed
is
him.
going on?
We
You
need to
killed
make
him.
them stop.
Go and tell them that you killed him, and the others.
They're fine. They're fine. Ow. They're fine. I think.
Okay, so I don't actually need these right now.
No. What
Okay,
are
I'm
those?
just gonna put them gently onto the ground. They were healing potions, but they explode, and
What? Never mind. I run
I
to
don't
Need to
the
Saket to find the only exploding healing potions in the entire world.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Con, can you fix this? I'm sorry to damage your ship vessel, I guess.
Yeah, the
Well.
ice doesn't seem to have affected the ship itself. The sphere grew around the whole ship. So
Right.
some of the spars stick out into the actual ice itself. So you imagine that if the ice was to be shattered and those blocks became weight, they might damage the yard arms of the ship itself. But
I'm talking about the 5x4 hole.
Oh, yes, there is that.
Definitely caused by
Your
Captain
window.
Error.
Yes, that was.
Definitely.
We'll just add it to the list of repairs.
All right.
Well, if this situation should be resolved, then probably should be ready.
Are all three of you heading to Fangvir?
I would
Right.
actually go to the hole first. I mean, I know that Adrusai went to him, right? That's what she said. So
Say that. Okay.
she knows about the hole, I guess. So.
Yeah, I was there, man.
You need to find your halberd that you threw through the wall too.
Yeah.
So I remain on deck and sort of eyeing out this frozen over sphere and trying to ponder options.
It's right on the inside, so let us out.
I could do something about this magically, but it would take, 8 hours and
Right.
something
Right.
to do it.
All right. So you're pondering the sphere. Adversary, you get below deck to hear this loud snoring sound emanating from the lower hold.
Okay, I go check it out.
There is this very large lycanthrope lying curled up next to the hatch opening. There's several pages of scribbled notes and things lying around him, and it looks like he's basically fallen asleep. It looks like he's been sketching a new shape for the Windswift's hull. A great ventral fin seems to have been added to the underside of the ship. The ship looks subtly different. The flappers are definitely gone. The sails have been retrimmed so that she works a bit better under regular wind rather than she was before. Anyway, so this figure is completely asleep.
Right. Well, I'm not going to disturb him then. He seems all right. I'm going to go find Mr. Littlefoot, I believe it was, the gnome man,
Right.
the gnome lizard person.
Yes.
So I was going to go gently look for him, gently calling out, "It's all right. Water's gone, and so's the vampire."
So that you hear the sounds coming from the kitchen. Well, actually, it's the sound of, it sounds like wood banging against metal. And as you get closer and closer to the kitchen, there is this brilliant orange glow, which is emanating from Hurricane's kitchen. And it's getting warmer and warmer and warmer as you get closer and closer and closer. And you realize that as you push open the door, he's basically set the oven to emit heat, and he's left the grate open and is trying to shove a chair inside the grate so that he can warm, because his whole body is it's not shaking, it's just moving very stiffly and mechanically. And
he's cold-blooded, of course.
Yes.
Hi, are you all right?
There are some scaly arms that wrap around your body as he tries to climb inside you.
Give him a hug. It's okay.
All right, so you're wrapping up to the lizard.
Yeah, I'm just going to go find some blankets or something and just wrap around us and just give the poor thing some body heat.
And sit in the kitchens. Okay, that's what you're doing?
Yes, next to the fire.
Blaxton, you're looking at this large...
actually, before I take a look at the hole, I would go to the storage room or whatever and see where Quaffin stores the wood, the timber, the planks.
Yes.
Emergency repair kits for just these situations.
You sort of put the patch over, and then you blow the wood up with a little.
When our paladin blows a hole,
inflate as you inhale. You start looking for some of the timbers and things.
Nice, right? Yeah.
That's not a problem.
And then I would then carry them over, obviously.
Okay, you definitely do that. Give me a perception check, please, as you get there. I'll use passive perception one day, but not today.
Not today. Today is
the revolution.
Yeah.
14.
The room, well, the cell that you blasted a hole in, it was the cell that this duke was being kept in. And as you're sort of putting planks and things down, there's this massive scorched area where the spell kind of discharged. But it looks as if the Count has been bored, and he has scratched markings on the wall. Quite a lot of markings, as a matter of fact. And it's mainly written in a common tongue, something that they speak in Drakenmoore itself, but the common language would understand it. And it looks to be a list of names, castles, you recognize some of them, and then descriptions of, it looks like execution styles. So one is
drowned quarters.
Yes, exactly. Exposed to the sun, cut up into 8 pieces, and each piece put into a silver box. Just generally nasty ways for vampires to meet their end. And so there's that list. Then underneath it, he has written the name Mirian, and it's Mirian, and then it's Ulkov, and he's scratched a little heart around the 2 names.
Oh no.
Oh, Mirian and Ulkov, I see. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Plus Ulkov equals heart.
Heart.
Really? What?
I don't give a fuck.
That's the impression I got from him.
So letting basically the timber then fall to the ground, and next to it, and it's like, Khan!
Yes, what?
Hole!
Okay, yes. I come down.
Right.
We set to work. Don't know how long we've got until we get dropped back in the water.
Well, no time better than now.
Right. Temperatures.
And I would then kind of try to get out of my wet clothes as it is getting colder and colder, because that sucks when it's cold.
That's it. Jorik, you go running up towards the druids as the last druid finishes casting her spell, which sort of encapsulates this giant ice sphere, if you like, in a shimmering energy of green electrical pulses, which sort of discharge from time to time. And they look down at you suspiciously. And then they look at Saket. Saket, did you carry on towards the snowball, or are you following Jorik?
No, I went for the snowball. I need
Alright.
to get ready to, I was going to fire something at the snowball, but now it's got electricity around it, so...
A green electrical sort of discharge every now and again, yes.
You can calm down. We killed him.
You have slain the Duke.
Yes. He got real angry when he realized he was in Sanctuary and he attacked us. And we managed to defeat him only because we shoved him into the water. He could do nothing. Or we, Blaxton.
And that is unfortunate, but good. That is the outcome.
Yes, he got really angry. He was about to kill us, but as I said, we pulled together and he's dead. He turned into this black sludge in the water.
How did you get out of the vessel? I'm curious to know.
Sorry, what?
How did you get out of the vessel?
I teleported.
She looks over at the one other lady who's with her, who's kind of got this crizzy hair and that sort of thing. And she says, I told you we should have done you first and then frozen the sphere. And the one with crizzy hair goes, yes, well, then you couldn't have frozen the sphere. We discussed this. Anyway, they both look back at you and they say, well, you are then fortunate. Consider yourself lucky.
What do you mean? You can take it down. He's dead. He's gone.
We cannot do anything of the sort.
I'm sorry. You put it up. Take it down.
That sphere that encapsulates the ship, it prevents magic from happening.
Okay. For how long?
About 7 hours.
Oh, great. Fantastic. So they're stuck in there for 7 hours.
I did explain this to your other captain. I'm not sure how many captains your ship has, but another captain agreed
5.
to this outcome should he signal us that things were not going correctly. We received a signal.
All right. And why didn't you stop when Siket told you? Because I assume she told you. Right?
I told them!
Yeah. Never mind. So you can't take this down.
No.
Great. Can you heal?
Yes.
Then heal me. I am falling apart.
I'm dying over here.
Why didn't you say so? I could have thrown something at you.
No offense, Siket, but I don't trust your healing.
It wasn't me that made this.
All
I
right.
stole it from someone.
So, Ket, what are you doing?
So I'll start wandering up so I don't have to keep shouting because I'm going to go hoarse otherwise. So wait, can I throw anything at that to melt it now, or are we all screwed?
It won't work. That's why we kept telling you, but you wouldn't listen to us.
But you wouldn't listen to me either, so that's a bit of a, catch-22, isn't it? So what you're telling me is they're going to have to somehow survive 7 hours because you guys were impatient. Could have not done the electricity thing, and then I could have got them out.
Gonna find us like the end of The Shining.
Yeah.
She just looks at you. She explained her situation to you. She doesn't explain it again. And she says,
I'm going to need the healing potions. Where do I put them?
we will heal you, obviously, and then we will wait until morning.
Fine.
If you have defeated the vampire, I'm sure everything will be fine.
I don't know.
Yes,
They're going to
we
be...
have defeated him. Or we.
And the rest, are they okay?
Blaxton took a beating, but I think everyone will be okay, yes.
Okay, so I have these
he took the
things.
brunt of the attack because he was wrestling the damn thing.
We're probably going to have to pay for these because we're going to have to use them, I suspect. Because I don't know, is it sub-zero temperatures on there? I mean...
It was cold, but not that cold.
When you left.
Ball of ice, it'll get down.
That's all I know.
A low
Well,
temperature.
they do explode. I guess that could get a bit of heat going. And then the glass shards will inject the healing potion into the body. Yes?
What are those things?
I stole them off a potion guy who makes healing potions, and they're this new thing he made that when you throw them at people, they explode and heal them. Apparently, you can even bring people back from the dead, which could be quite useful.
They explode. Wait, you stole them?
Yeah, because I didn't know where he was, and that was the quickest. I know I shouldn't have stolen them, but we can pay him back, I'm sure. I'm sure Blaxton will have enough gold on the ship for us to pay
Fine.
for.
We'll consider it a requisition. All right.
Okay,
What's an emergency?
I'm gonna go down and see if I can contact Adresai or Blaxton or Khan or anyone in there. I doubt it because of these freaking druids. And I'd start throttling down to the ship. If they haven't healed me by now, fuck them.
They have healed you. Don't worry. One crazy hair healed you up. All right. So
how much do I get? Do I go full or do I just gain number?
So the three of you on the ship, you endeavour to repair the hull damage.
Well, the first thing is, as I said, but I have heavy armor on right now, so it'll take me 10 minutes to get out of that.
You.
So while I do, basically just like undo the latches and whatnot, right? What is entailed with that, I like. Adresai, what's about the wood bender?
I'm at this point. I've been sort of looking. I've found some piece of fabric, and I've sort of tied a sling around the little lizard person, so it's sort of like a baby on my chest, basically.
Right. Nice.
I've gone into, if there's some kind of storage or something in the kitchen, to find thick blankets.
Sure. Yeah,
I need 3 of them.
Yeah.
Because then I can actually cast prestidigitation to heat or warm an object of 1 cubic foot for 1 hour.
You can also dry us, right?
Right.
Yes,
right.
I can. And I can have 3 of these effects at once. So I'm going to get 3 blankets, 1 for each of us, and I'm going to heat them up.
Nice.
And I'm going to wrap 1 around myself, and then I'm going to come down and give 1 to Con and give 1 to Blaxton. And I have to redo it every hour, but we can definitely keep warm. Prestidigitation! And yeah, I can dry you up as well.
Thanks.
That's real good.
And then it's just a sort of wrap a blanket around them. There you go. If they can't.
So how cold is it at this point?
It's probably about -2 or -3 inside.
Okay, so it's still kind of fairly okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
There's a fire going in the kitchen. We can all huddle in there if they don't get this down.
Again, what about the wood?
Oh, I found him. He's asleep in the hold.
Well, I'm going to wake him.
You should probably do that at these temperatures. He might just, never wake up again.
Well, he's covered in fur.
And we also need his help. So you do this, and thanks, Adresai.
He's covered in fur. Oh, of course. Well, he might be. But yes, we do.
But we need his help anyway, so let's...
Yeah, we do need to apologise, first of all.
For
leaving him on the ship when we were fighting a vampire, Con.
Yes, but I'll handle it. Adresai, you want to come with?
I don't think
I'll come with you.
Somehow.
All right, let's head over.
All right, well, you wake up...
I'm a mother now!
Oh, my God.
What have you done?
Or a father! I'm a parent now!
I've got parent problems.
Yes!
So,
Make the gnome!
Am I awake?
Is this a dream? I want to be a tree again.
Bang beer. And you take the caution of waking him up from behind so that when he wakes up, he sort of snaps out because he's in full werewolf form.
Werewolf, actually, okay.
And he sort of snaps out. And
so before I wake him up, actually a question about lycanthropy.
Yes.
In D&D canon, they're evil.
Yes.
Specifically werewolves, right?
Right.
How is it in this case?
So there are 2 forms of lycanthropy, as it happens, or wercanthropy, if you want to be more inclusive. But nonetheless, one is through the curse that can be bestowed upon individuals. That does generally drive the individual mad and evil.
Right.
That's part of the curse, is that you hunt down and kill everybody that you love. If 2 lycanthropes, however, come together and they mate, they will generate natural lycanthropes who have as much free will as any other. Those natural lycanthropes can, like I said, they have rain.
Sure.
They're not bound by any kind of restrictions.
So the child of two insane wolves equals a not insane wolf. Get it?
Basically.
All right. I just want to know because that might change the approach a bit. All right. So under those circumstances, I prod him with the end of my not mace club, just like Fangweir. Hey.
He sort of snaps and he kind of claws and he stretches out and he rolls over and he looks at you, and as he does so, his face just sort of retracts back into human form, and he says, "What? Why have you woken me up? What? Here!" And he sort of grabs a piece of paper and he sort of shoves it in your direction. "That's what I'm going to do to it. Now, where's my breakfast? I can't work without breakfast."
Yes, it's cold, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually a little bit chilly around here. That's very odd.
Well, I'll fix you something to eat. Please, if you want to come within the kitchen.
We have a fire going in there.
How long have I been sleeping for? It doesn't feel like... God.
About
3 months.
hours.
It's winter now.
Nah, stop it.
Sorry. I had to.
About 5 hours. I'm sorry to wake you this early, but I'm actually sorry that you're here together. And I'm sorry for other things too.
There's a lot of sorry in there. There's not a lot of coffee. I like coffee with my breakfast, not
Yes,
sorry.
I'll get you your coffee if you help us not die.
What?
Well, come with me. It's easier to see than to explain.
All right. So you show him the hole, and there's the cursing that goes along with it. But he takes it a lot better than you thought he might, because he kind of goes, "Well, I've got to fix your ship anyway. Did you look at that diagram yet?" He says, referring to one of the pages he gave me. Again, it's
Let me have a look at that.
Like this.
Yeah, so it's the design for the ship with a much deeper keel, so that she's a lot more stable on the water, out in the open ocean as well. Flappers have been removed, extra rigging has been put in for ease of access for the sailors to get to sails and things. Anyway, it definitely looks better. One thing that has been done is that the underside ballista has been removed.
I mean, underwater doesn't make much sense, right?
Right. But it hasn't been placed anywhere else. And you realize that that's fairly tricky, because unless it gets placed pretty much near the forward ballista, which sits kind of in the middle of the ship, she's not going to have a clear firing line just because of the way that the masts and the sails work on the ship. At any one time, she's probably going to, a ballista at the back of the ship would only have probably 180 degrees if the sails are unfurled. So yeah, it becomes a big problem.
Well, you lose some, so you win some.
Absolutely.
We could just put Saket near the back. That's fine.
Yeah, she fire up in the background.
She's better than a ballista, really.
So yes, the ship repairs. He will immediately begin with this hole first, and whilst he's waiting for his breakfast, which
so.
entails...
Speaking of which, I would then say, well, since I'm mostly useless here, anybody hungry or thirsty?
Some hot food would probably not be amiss.
Yes, so I can see what Hurricane has, I guess.
Have you ever cooked in your life, Blaxton?
Of course!
Not that hard.
I'm
How can it be?
not so hungry at the moment.
I've been a tree.
Yeah, and a shark, and you had a mouthful of sort of vampire demon
My
ash.
appetite seems to be a bit off at the moment.
Right.
Strange
No,
taste.
Well, cooking not so much, but yeah, I know the etiquette.
All right, so there's a long night spent providing...
Huddled in the kitchen.
Yeah, huddled in the kitchen, sort of doing cocoa runs out to Fangveer, who takes about an hour and a half to seal over that hole. He takes the wood timber that you brought through Blaxton and he kind of places it roughly in place. Then he starts to cast various spells of shaping wood and
Nice.
etc., etc., as he starts to patch together the whole wood. Saket and Jorik, what are the two of you doing outside? Because it becomes apparent that the three druidesses, the three druids, just do not give a fig about what's happening. They've basically said, we're going home now. We'll see you at sunrise. And then we'll see what's become of your friends.
Such assholes. Jorik spends about an hour trying to, penetrate this with his mind, failing because he doesn't know he actually needs to see anyone.
Kind of flinging bits of magic at it, and it just, as it hits, it just dissipates.
Dude, I think we're better off going for a drink and possibly a short snooze, and then coming down and fixing people.
Where's the crew, by the way?
They're all up at the tavern. The Lustrous Pearl? Luminous Pearl.
Lustrous Pearl is the other establishment.
It's across the street.
That's the room by the hour, not the room by the night.
Oh dear. So we won't be going there. We're going to the Luminous Pearl.
All right.
We'll find the crew.
No, the Lustrous Pearl. Don't go to the wrong one.
Oh, and the reason I was coming to find you guys is the Sagetti crew. They're going...
Saket.
Saget, yes.
No, Saket.
What?
Move. Talk on the way.
But I don't want them to hear what I'm going to say to you.
Are you going to talk for that long?
Maybe, but it's important.
You don't know that.
So,
all right,
the Sagetti aren't going to Sagetti. They're going to the golf. The Macadam golf, where Huntkin told his father to buy property. And I really think something is going on down there, because after that they're going to go to the Grace Empire, and it kind of suggests.
Wait, what? What? Why are the Saget going to the Grace Empire?
Well, that's a really good question, isn't it? That's why I was coming to find you. I don't know what's going on, but something is going on in the Gulf.
All right. I'll put that on the list, but no offense, but we have a lot of more important things to do right now.
Yes, I know your sister is really, really important, but...
I didn't even mean that. I meant more the whole order problem.
Well, yeah,
Would you say we have an order of problems?
Yes.
Oh.
Here we go.
This one is an order of magnitude more important than the golf.
Yeah, I recognize that, but I have a feeling I just feel it could be tied up with what Huntkin said about, telling his father to buy property there. Why is it now this golf is so important to everybody?
My guess is that the Sagetti are doing something important there, and Huntkin uncovered it when he was spying on them, and he needs to tell his father to go and look there. That is my guess.
It's all getting very suspect. And then why are the Sagetti going from there to the Grace Empire?
Maybe they're planning to invade the Graith. Who knows? Maybe they have an entire invasion fleet down there. The Sagetti are fairly powerful.
I know. I come from there.
Yes.
But something's up. I think we should be aware of that.
Yes, as I said, we'll put it on the list. It's
the list is very long.
Yes. Fine, we'll go and take some rest and hope they're fine.
Luminous Pearl.
Wish I could put a post-it note on this thing. We'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Yes.
Not frozen. All right. And so there is a night spent. Is this the moment where we have a romantic interlude where Saket and Jorik drink just a little bit too much, and then there's a fleck of tequila left on Jorik's cheek, so there's a tender rush away, and then there's suddenly a lean in. Is that the moment that's happening now, or is it just...
No, I think they'll just...
I think this is just mostly just drinking and talking.
All right. Well,
they both helps, but I haven't really sensed that kind of energy. Jorik is too much of an asshole.
The night passes coldly for some, warmly for others, and I'll leave that to you to decide as to...
I'll actually do a performance check to see how well I do, if I may.
Yes, of course.
The cooking.
Yeah, the cooking, yes.
Natural 1.
Oh,
it's burnt. Don't eat it.
Yes. Apparently, eggs you don't just sort of put in the fire and leave for a while and then hand them out.
How do you burn water?
I'm very impressed, Blaxton. Really didn't think anyone could ruin food this quickly and thoroughly.
Well, yes. So a rather sad night is spent repairing the food by making more whilst the ship's happened. But at first light,
Never going to hear the end of this, am I?
well, we're a couple captains down in terms of cooking ability, I think.
Gold star, you tried.
Yes.
Participation trophy.
Oh, God.
Has cooked.
The sun finally dawns over the spheroid that has encapsulated the Windswift, and Jorik and Saket, you make your way down to the docks, so you're sort of eagerly waiting.
Yeah, I was probably there early, standing around tapping our foot, waiting for this damn thing to go away.
The Druids arrive shortly thereafter, and the one with crizzy hair looks out. The one with short hair looks at the two of you, looks out and watches the sun so that it's completely risen above the ocean before they do anything. Yes, Simon?
So before the bubble bursts, can we assume that, or actually, let me ask the con this, will you share what you learned from the Druids? Like what their plan was with the vampire and what they're planning to do, generally speaking? Because we have some hours of working, right? Because we're not sleeping.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, absolutely. This conversation can happen.
Like,
or not.
What information do you pass on to us, right? That's my question.
Yeah.
Because I would ask you, like, how did it go? What did they say? Right?
Well, yeah, it was interesting. I don't want to go too far into it before we can have a full conference of the captains. Otherwise, I have to repeat myself. But needless to say, they were supportive of our initiative to reform the order. At least they were, after some convincing. Their initial reaction was to disregard the order entirely and treat it as a failed endeavor.
Oh dear.
And also, of course, they were quite keen to rush off and declare war against the vampires.
Aren't Druids peace-loving people? That was always my impression.
Like I say, and it was interesting.
Not quite
not quite what I was expecting, to be sure. But as I say, there's much more to talk about, I guess. But
sure,
right.
That is the essentials of it. I managed. They at least one thing that works in our favor is the Druids thinking long term, quite like the elves do. As you know, as the legends say, that once Druids pass a certain point, they are practically immortal.
Okay, so we don't need to fear anything immediately. Is that what you're saying?
We have about 100 years to get our affairs in order before they decide to do whatever they see fit.
Well, I don't plan to do this until I'm 125. So.
Well, I suppose then we just table that worry for now, I suppose.
Right. I'm much more worried what you mentioned on the pier. They wanted to what? To apprehend him?
Yes, that was the other somewhat interesting development, was the most keen on...
Well, I guess we'll need to speak about that once we're out of here, if we're winning.
Utilizing the resource provided by having him prisoner.
Well, if we could have kept him prisoner... We tried. I think that's in our favor. We definitely tried to keep him contained, and then that failed because he got very angry.
Well, it's just... Anyway, can somebody else try to make coffee? This sucks.
I'll show you how to make coffee. Let's stand up and set to work.
Adderside's going to sort of keep waking up every hour and sort of reapplying the heated blanket spells.
Yeah, thank you
and
for
sort
that.
I've kind of advised everyone to just, if they're not doing something essential out of to just stay in the kitchen. There's enough of us to cram ourselves in there and feed the stove with wood, should I say.
I'm going to just sit and cuddle the lizard and read and
Right.
nap. And
We get back to the Windswift and there's no furniture.
yes.
One question.
Only burned.
There's just a stove left.
One question for Guy. Once dawn and sunrise starts to happen, are we able to perceive that through the shell?
Yes. So that is something that starts to perhaps rouse you from slumber, because I would imagine that would be a fairly long
Eventually
night.
it goes off.
Yeah.
So how low does it get? How low can you go?
What you mean, the temperature? It probably gets to about -15 or so.
Well, that's
Which is
nasty.
Stay uncomfortable.
It's with
Cold.
as long as you stay by the
Survive.
fire and with the heated
Yeah,
blanket, you should be
Sure.
fine.
I mean, it's survival, but it's like really like.
correct. It is
Everyone
really
just stay in the kitchen.
yeah.
Yes.
the fire
Even,
going.
does Fangveer even stop trying to work and come to?
Eventually, he kind of goes, "It's I need a break. It's a standard shipbuilding technique." Sort of
Right,
says-
so come have some coffee.
Yeah,
I
he
just
sounds-
share a blanket with him.
Teeth rattling.
Right.
We gotta
Sounded.
shut ourselves in the galley and crank the oven up.
I mean, yes, the benefit of being able to turn into a lycanthrope who has fur, right?
Yeah.
So
He does.
I could turn into a polar bear, but that would be antisocial.
No, we can cuddle you. You can just like lie around us and we can like look into the polar bear.
I mean, I know Con is a big guy, but as a polar bear,
Yeah.
I think
we
he'd
would
be
all
alone in
fit
the
his
kitchen.
back. Like just a big warm couch, basically.
you could look Skywalker in.
No, we're not going to raise Con's intestines, Blaxton. We've talked about this. What's the solution to everything?
The night passes with this sort of joking that needs to happen to break the tension and the stress and the cold. And the sun pops up above the horizon, to which the fuzzy-haired druid, she sort of extends out her hands and she drops the anti-magic veil.
Oh, this will be fun.
But you said you couldn't do that. That's the
Yeah.
first thing I say when I see her stretch out her hands.
We
How
couldn't
far
take
is
the
it
risk
from
of the
us in the
vampire
water?
being released.
Oh,
But you lied.
You're
We
glad
are
you're a
being
woman. I don't hit women.
Cautious.
Lied.
Then the second one steps up and she starts to break the ice. And inside the ship, you start to hear rain as the ice is literally melting back, peeling back. The water is just sort of splashing over the deck and all that.
So there's no cave in. I'm happy about that.
Yes,
So
thankfully there isn't.
why didn't you do that 7 hours ago?
They said they
Turns and
didn't
she
want to
looks
risk him
to
getting
you.
out.
Especially after you told me it was
Understand,
dead.
I was under orders to contain the vampire within that.
It was dead.
He's dead.
according
For real,
to
like
individuals
permanent death.
Who might be his thralls? I don't know who you are. So until I have completed my orders, you're basically just chirping in the breeze, as far as I'm concerned.
Nice.
she's got a point.
Anyone ever told you you're an asshole?
Mm.
Only other assholes. She
Well,
said,
it takes one to know one, doesn't it?
as the water pours, shell slowly starts to drop. The other benefit is that as this water evaporates, the Windswift isn't just dropped.
Right.
That's good.
She gets refloated basically, and then the water starts to just subsume itself back into the actual ocean itself.
But it is like going out of the aircraft, right? And like into like some southern country. Like,
Yes.
warm.
Suddenly the kitchen gets really warm really quick. There's the blankets like, why are these things so hot? It's like fire out.
You can just
close
chill the
grate.
blankets instead.
I mean,
Correct. What?
No, I'm gonna leave the little lizard person sort of wrapped in the kitchen.
Well,
sort
he
of
stays
sleeping.
wrapped up in the blankets. He's quite happy.
Yes. And then I'm going to sort of grab a cup of coffee and go and stand on the deck underneath part of the sail so that I'm not in the rain. I'm just going to stand there and wait with coffee.
yeah, I would be not in armor at this point anymore, as I said.
Right,
earlier.
right. So, Captain Jorik, you see as this roof starts collapsing and this black smoke just pouring out of the top of this dome. And it gets less and less as more of the rain pours in.
What they didn't, I hope they didn't burn the ship down.
No, they
You're
didn't.
kind of watching as the ship is slowly revealed as the sphere melts into the
It
water.
looks fine.
It does look fine, and you can't see the hole from here, but it looks okay. It really does look okay. And then you can see there's a little side vent where the kitchen ovens have a vent, and there is this little trail of black smoke slowly making its way out.
As soon as I see another side, I teleport over there and...
Right.
How... Are you all right?
Like,
Yes, we're perfectly. Yeah, we're perfectly fine. Thank you.
could you just because you learned it, you don't need to. Like, you can walk. You know.
I can't walk on water.
We're quite all right, actually. We had a cozy night in the kitchen. I heated some blankets. It's been quite nice. How are you doing?
Almost like camping.
You've been gone for 7 hours, at least.
And I'm tired.
You cannot just be, like, all flippant about it.
Why not? We're perfectly fine.
You okay?
Considering the circumstances, I think we had a rather nice night, actually.
Oh, that's
Yorick,
Could have been worse.
today I learned a valuable lesson: humility.
Did you really?
No. but
About what?
sounds fancy.
How are you? How's the cat? Are you two all right?
Saket's nervous, as usual, but otherwise, she's fine.
Yes,
I'm
cat.
fine.
We're perfectly all right.
I got those exploding healing potions in case you aren't.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you.
Is everyone okay?
We're okay.
I don't get to use them.
Would you like some coffee?
No.
You are standing there busy having the shouting match with Edris Island. And you notice the sails of a large Sadeti ship, the Sadeti ship, busy unfurling as she breaks dock, heading off towards the breakwater and the large stone
Too
arm.
late to give those back, I suppose.
Absolute.
Oh, bollocks.
You can throw it to them.
No, that's not a good idea.
The three
I need
druids
some
step aboard they approach the Windswift. And
I'm just going to guess and say she's not docked anymore.
no, the gangplank kind of fell away. It was knocked out of the way, and the ropes all kind of frozen.
Before the druids come aboard,
Yeah, they can't at the moment.
I would divulge the information on why I did what I did with, the captains on board the ship, but specifically aimed at Yorick as well, as I saw no other reason, no other opportunity to do this because of the dangers, obviously, inherently in keeping this piece of work alive and trying to apprehend him.
Wait, you mean you planned this?
To kill him? Of course I did.
I mean, I saw you were angry, but in the end, it was him attacking us. So
Yeah, you came in at a rather good timing there, actually, to say.
Yeah, great timing.
Also, why were you glowing? Is that a thing you do now?
I was
Yeah, you were glowing like
Very
brilliant.
brightly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You also look like you were wearing a completely different armor. So
It was a little odd.
yes.
I just shrug it off. I don't know what they're talking about. But like, suffice it to say, the reason why I wanted to share this information with Yorick is that I want to tell him that they wanted to keep him alive and keep him prisoner, right? That's kind
Wait,
of
the druids wanted to keep him alive?
for some godforsaken reason, because they're idiots.
Yeah, because that
Quote,
worked great last time. That's why he was on our ship, because someone tried to keep him alive.
Yes. Well, but that problem's...
Oh, also, by the way, he dropped this. And I kind of opened my hand. I've been carrying this black ankh symbol. I don't know if it's a necklace or whatever it is, but he dropped it.
Does it mean anything?
Detect magic?
You can cast Detect Magic and give me a religion check, if you please.
Yes,
Anyone who's
I'm good at those things.
I am. Oh, natural 20. +7. Plus detect magic.
I want to know everything.
Tell me all. Tell me the
All
history
the mysteries of the
world, guy.
universe.
All right. Well, that particular ankh symbol is used in many religions across Spraxia. But the way that the arms, they're not simple cross. It's not just a crossbar at the base of the eye. They curve out and then points. And the base, instead of flanging out as some ankhs do, also has that strange squiggle to it. And at the very base of it, instead of it being a point, it actually splits into a very distinct 3 forked tines. Giving
Like
it
a trident?
Yeah, almost like a trident, giving it a fairly sinister look. The actual eye of the ankh, the hoop at the top, the outside of it has, again, got this 3-tined effect that almost look like fins. Again, a very indicative of 3, definitely 3 of 3 of 3 of 3. And what that does is that reminds you of there is a religious story that within the realms of the gods, there are the gods themselves, and they're not allowed to directly interfere with human affairs or with mortal affairs on the planet. So they have legions of agents, whether they are agents for good or agents for nature, or they are agents that can operate on the prime material plane directly. And they're not allowed to interfere with each other. One of those agents who acted for the god Reft, which is the god of self-indulgence and excess and just wanton, you do what you want, really. One of his agents was known as Ixbrachlog, or if you want to go with the traditional pronunciation, Ixbrachlog.
Bless you.
Of course.
Yes, so Ixbrachlog, if you like, Ixbrachlog, was a particularly vicious agent who was responsible for a whole lot of torment until eventually he was cast out into one of the outer planes. Effectively, he is a very powerful demon that used to terrorize members of the clergy in days gone past. But no, it's more of a legend now than anything else. He was rumored to have been defeated several thousand years ago and has never been heard from since.
Never took the guy for being a religious person.
Oh, I tell everyone this, of course. And do you detect magic? Is it magical in any way?
Yes, so it's incredibly magical. The energy radiating off of it is a very powerful transmutation magic.
Huh. That is very interesting. We should probably...
What does that mean, transmutation? I'm not a mage.
Well, transmutation is my own specialty, actually. It's the act of changing the nature of nature and things into other things, and to alter the traits of things.
Turn you into a vampire, maybe.
Possibly.
What?
I wouldn't hold this if I
In
were.
a magical way?
Yes, I think
you
we
can
should
make
probably
magic.
seal this in something very sealed.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Do you
Is it-
have anything?
Maybe we have something to barter for with the druids then. I kind of rub my chin.
Maybe?
Is it working actively, or is it an activation? How can you tell?
Guy?
Is it generating an effect?
Give me an arcana check. At the moment, it's just radiating transmutation magic.
Oh, that is 15.
You suspect that you'd have to spend a lot of time looking into this, and you could possibly get some research done as that library that you wanted to go to. But this looks more like a key that will allow you access to somewhere or something, or so it is inserted into something. It is brought to somewhere, and that together will cause an effect to happen. The transmutation magic is that you suspect when it gets close enough to whatever it is that it should be opening,
It will change that,
shape
yeah.
to accommodate. That's what you think it will do. So that's often what used to happen. The agents would have like the ability in the legends anyway to be able to move between the different worlds without hindrance, and no one knew why. Perhaps this is how they did it.
Yes. With our luck, this is something that will allow him to summon back his demonic master, but we should probably not.
There's something I didn't tell you yet, but I guess that has... He
Mhm.
also
We
did
don't actually know he was a demon.
I do.
Yes, you do, but we don't. We didn't see it.
No, we don't.
We don't.
Well, now we're pretty sure he at least worshipped that demon, using the because he was wearing
Well,
the.
he had a connection to a demon anyway. He was not just a mere vampire. That's something I did see in the fight and did feel in the fight.
Oh.
So
Anyway,
kind
let's
of-
see those druids. Deal with them.
Yes, that's concerning on an entirely different level.
But since this is a key and we are heading to Drakenmoore sometime in the future,
Well, maybe we can.
Yeah, maybe not the best idea to bring it there where he wanted it brought.
Well,
Then again,
I just look at Con. You think the druids are worshipping this demon?
Huh?
Okay.
what?
I'll take this as a no.
All right. The druids outside wait for dockhands to throw ropes onto the Windswift and slowly pull her into port, securing her again before striding on board.
In the absence of a crew, I guess I am setting about doing that.
Hello, you're
as
the
well.
ice sphere people then?
Good morning.
Bloody good job, I have to say. It's quite impressive.
I should probably follow the druids on.
That's an unusual attitude to have. I would suggest that you share that with your fellow captains who believe that we were making an error.
We were making-
say on
No,
my
I'm not making any judgment of whether or not it was the right thing to do. I'm just saying the spell was rather impressive.
Yeah,
But it was the right thing to
was
do,
poor.
absolutely.
Yes, I mean, we haven't been suffering it here.
It sucked
We
for us,
didn't
but it
know
was
that.
I mean, it was
No.
all over pretty much as you started your sphere. So we've been sitting around for the last 7 hours waiting. But, other than that, you did great.
Really?
Probably a
I
decent
don't
enough
feel-
precaution.
They lied.
Well,
That
it's
was
a
very
very
mean of
different
them,
matter.
but all in all, I feel it was a reasonable precaution to take.
No, they seriously. Even after Jorek told them that you guys had killed the vampire, they still didn't remove the spell, and they could have done it 7 hours ago. So you guys have been freezing your tits off for no reason.
No, we've been perfectly fine.
I know.
It sucked, yes, but we also had like some things to fix. So can it
What
work
did
out?
you do?
I've gotten a lot of good reading done, honestly. It's rare that we get a break in this line of work.
What,
The whole.
Blaxton?
It was
I
somewhat
saw smoke
serendipitous.
coming from the kitchen. You haven't ruined the kitchen, have you?
Kitchen's fine.
No, but he ruined one of the pans.
Yes,
As
that may
touching
never
as
come
this
back.
reunion is, where is the vampire? Sis?
Dead.
Dead.
Everywhere.
Well, the only thing that's really
Might see a
left.
black
in
oily
The remains of the vampire were summoned into your sphere.
They look at you, Con. I thought we were going to take him captive.
Well, he kind of forced our hand.
And also, what?
Yes, well,
Yeah, no,
another matter.
he got very upset when he realized where he was and attacked us. There was
wanted to
honestly
go for a
no
walk.
other way for us to contain him.
He wanted to go for a walk, so, well, then
Yeah,
everything
he-
got out of hand.
Now,
And also, what? Let me
maybe-
try to explain where this piece of work came from originally. He was imprisoned, and he escaped.
And as has been established by your captain, the prison was operated by a false order, incapable of fulfilling their basic demands
Well, that is not entirely true, is it?
for a different purpose. But let us not dine upon ashes. It is done. If he has been destroyed, then we are relieved.
Are you now?
Well, yes. Securing sanctuary was our first and primary goal. Anything else was a benefit, I'm sure.
How are you going to keep him prisoner?
She looks around. It is sunlight. The creature cannot move during the sunlight unless it wants to die in exposure. That means it's trapped on your ship,
So,
is it not?
no, it's dead.
Yeah, right now, yes.
It's dead.
Well, anyway, there is something you can still maybe do with for us.
Anything?
He was not a mere vampire. He was not even a mere vampire lord for, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I haven't met any other, but he had connections to a more infernal nature.
I explained to them about the Reft and Ex-Bachloch. And I kind of look at Yorick before I go further with this, if he is fine sharing this information.
Sure.
And Yorick found this.
I just hold up the ankh.
Implement.
It's a religious symbol. And
Adosai, you said this was magical, right? Transmutation?
Yes.
Right.
Most likely some kind of key, at least in the ways I've seen this sort of magic used before.
I see.
So if you think you can keep in a vampire under control.
he was also...
Demon vampire?
Was he possessed? Or was he...
I don't know.
Possibly. Some kind of vessel.
I would suggest,
yeah.
Con, that you come with us and speak to the Oatkin directly. This is beyond what we were mandated to do, she says, looking...
I think it makes sense for everybody of us to speak with your leader at this point.
Yeah,
that will be something for the Oatkin to decide, not for us, but I can request it on your behalf.
Well, then do, please. I'm kind of done speaking through middlemen.
At least some of your crew have manners, she says.
What are you trying to say? You wouldn't listen to me, and then you lied.
The three of them leave. Con, are you going to go with them? All right.
Well, I assume we're all going.
We are all going, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I want to stay and look after the lizard person and the ship. I'm not really willing to lock him back up right now.
That's fine.
I just want to stay with him. Just
Adresai, if you're
maybe
going
have
to
a
stay on
chat.
the ship, will you deal with the crew too then?
The
because they'll
crew
return.
are all currently running back to the ship. They've seen...
Yes, I'll get things sorted here.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to stay with Adresai, and I'm going to see what Blaxton did to the kitchen.
Priorities. There is
Very good priority.
Yeah, it's like, but did he put the coffee on the outside and put the pot in the middle of it? I don't understand. Anyway,
Just covered it in eggs.
The three of you are led up to the third bow of Deneth Wald, where Con, you are taken into the amber portal and transported to the center of the island almost instantaneously. There is well, it looks as if at the very center of this sanctuary, which it wasn't there before, or at least wasn't there when you were there, is this magnificent oak tree with golden leaves busy shining in the morning sunlight. And the druid who was with you at the ship, she kind of guides you to the tree. And there's a murmuring with the aide who looks after the tree. And eventually there's a sort of a hushed whispering near the side of the tree, and the face of the druid appears in the actual trunk of the tree, and he looks down upon you. The vampire was not captured.
No.
But you are uninjured.
Indeed.
And sanctuary is safe.
From this vampire, yes.
We will redraw our plans, Con O'Dana. But what do you intend to do now?
Well, my colleague is very eager to speak with you. Perhaps we could arrange that.
Your colleague is not a druid, I take it?
No.
Do you believe there is value in me speaking with your colleague?
Well, I think he is more knowledgeable in the areas in which he wishes to discuss things than I. There is a demonic equation to this, apparently.
The tree, for a moment, it looks as if it's about to uproot itself.
Very slowly turns.
Yeah. As he sort of, it looks like he's trying to spit, but of course he's a tree, so that's a bit difficult.
So sap just drips.
Yeah. And he says, a demonic infestation of the vampire.
As I say, this is not my area.
Fine. I shall do so. Do not let this, for a moment, cast a shadow on your mind as to our intentions, Comrade. We may have lost an easy way to which we might get into our holy war against Drakenmoore, but that does not mean that we will not do it.
I'm under no illusion that you wouldn't.
Do your companions know of our pledge to make you supreme leader of the order?
Yeah, no. I've not had much chance to discuss that.
Would they be supportive of that notion?
I don't know. More to the point, I'm not entirely convinced that would be the course of action we're seeking. But perhaps such decisions are premature.
The mark
we have a lot of work to do.
I did not wish to be Oaken either. I was happy with my glade until they thrust the burden of leadership upon me. You'll be fine, Connor Danner. There is a glade just outside of Deneth Wold. You will know it by the standing stones, white as ice. Quite remarkable. Have your companions meet me there in 6 months.
Okay. 6 months.
One of the aides leans in and whispers something. He looks back at you. Presently. And then he disappears back into the tree. The Oakkin doesn't perceive time the same way that we do. But you need to hurry to get to that standing circle. If he arrives and you're not there, he'll be there for several months before he remembers to come back to us.
Right, okay. Off we go.
All right, so you make your way out.
I collect these two.
All right, what do you tell them?
We have an appointment. Well, you have an appointment with the Oakkin at a glade just outside of town, city. We should go there directly. If you wish to discuss your discoveries with the Oakkin, he is curious.
Good. He should be.
Connor, you all right? You seem a bit...
The Oakkin has it in his mind that our endeavors with the Order should result in me presiding as some sort of arch-lord over a newly reformed Order. I, of course, take this as his bias towards a fellow Druid, with whom I guess he would envisage some sort of leverage.
Yes, that's likely it.
Well,
but that's how he is proceeding under this assumption. I've not tried to discourage the notion, but that seems to only reinforce his enthusiasm for it.
Well, let's meet this archdruid then, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes, on the
Whatever
way.
he says, don't necessarily take it as an agreed matter of fact, necessarily, but...
I was just going to say that we might as well just play along. I get the feeling these druids are not so easy to...
Their assistance would be invaluable, that much is certain, and they are largely aligned with our own goals, but they are ambitious in a way that I was not anticipating in terms of a holy war against Drakenmoore. Anyhow, I believe the glade is
What?
that way.
all right, so you start making your way towards the glade.
You can't just drop that bomb.
Adjusai and Siket, you're aboard the Windswift. You can hear the Windswift seems to be quivering. That's the only word that can be accurately used to describe the vibrations that are going through the hull of the ship. But at the same time, you've never felt it before. Before it has always just been very heavy timber, but now it almost feels like the wood is breathing, as if there's a presence here that hasn't been before.
Adressai, is there something you forgot to tell me?
She says with
You're muted.
scrubbing gloves and
Thank you.
kitchen
You never knew that we have the wood
shaper. Yeah.
Well, we do have that shipwright that was accidentally left in the hall during the whole vampire attack thing. He's been doing a lot of work. Very, very fascinating person. Werewolf.
That I'm not fussed about him being a werewolf. Why is the ship going?
Oh, he's not writing the ship as much as he's shaping it. He's doing some druidic things. I'm not entirely sure. It's very fascinating. You should go watch.
Have you seen the state that Blaxton left the kitchen?
Oh, I know. Oh no, we never let him.
Why did you let him try and cook? I mean, how
Well,
much?
he offered. He volunteered, and he was really cold. And I had a lizard on my chest. It was,
What?
you know, the lizard gnome person. I let him out, and he was very, very, very cold.
Yes, well,
Poor
he was
little thing.
cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded, yes. So they'd spent the entire time just basically glued to my chest, and we had blankets and a fire. It was quite nice.
That would explain why there's no
Time.
chairs left in the kitchen as well.
No, there was.
He did smash up one or two,
Anyway,
but the rest of it, we think we used normal
Yeah.
firewood.
yeah.
Yes, I'm afraid he was desperate to start a fire.
Well, I can sympathise. I don't like cold weather either. I mean,
No, I was going to go make sure he was all right, but I wanted to soothe Lieutenant Ty before I leave the deck.
Right.
yeah, that's probably wise.
Yeah, the crew are starting to filter onto the ship now as the two of you speak.
Hello, everything's fine. We're all right. Ship's fine. Being repaired. Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Yes, hello.
The crew, not a single one of them, apart from Lieutenant Ty, who stands like a hawk at the top of the gangplank. The rest of the crew are drifting on. You can see that they were worried initially, but as they sort of see that the ship is okay, the hangovers return with a vengeance.
Oh no.
As they all sort of quietly shuffle on, going, yes, good, glad you're alive. Yes, that's great. It's
It's
wonderful.
okay. There might be a bit of water in places. Just
I could do with a hand in the kitchen.
There's a general tone of Meos, 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 will do it. Meos, Meos, kind of goes down the line until eventually Meos comes walking up looking spry and full of vigor, and he sort of hears that and he immediately volunteers to help.
So he was an illustrious pearl.
Yeah.
oh no. That's not.
He's got a great big grin on his face. Quite happily will bounce into the kitchen and start scrubbing. He's whistling a tune and seems
I'm
quite...
hoping Harrican didn't get drunk this time as well.
Harrican, yeah, no, he definitely didn't either, but he sort of gets stuck into the kitchen as well and starting to cook up a hangover cure, basically,
Oh, God.
for everybody. Back to the three of you. You arrive just outside. The glade is very obvious to find. It's up on top of a hill.
Are there other druids at the glade before we enter?
No, there isn't. It looks very well tended, Con, from what you remember of Glade Tending 101. It's very well maintained. The stones are quite unique so far as they're bright white. And at first you think that they've perhaps been whitewashed until you realize that it's actually just white marble, great big chunks of white marble. Not smooth by any means. It's definitely these stones have been hacked out of a cliff face somewhere. But quite spectacular.
So what I would do before entering the glade is actually take out my sidearm, the sword, put it on the ground, and actually leave my shoes there before the glade as well. So I'm barefoot.
All right. You enter.
You'll find me.
Yorick eyes Blaxton and then, okay, and does the same. What are we doing? This is weird.
Con.
You'll find many druids are a bit terse towards me, as my order duties don't really permit time to maintain one of these.
Yes, my lord.
I'm not going to have to live down that either.
Awesome.
The standing stones, for a moment, you sort of both are standing there feeling a little bit silly.
Yes.
Or feeling the grass underfoot and admiring the magnificent view. You can see sparkling like a brilliant gem of amber on the absolutely blue ocean is the Sagetti ship sailing due west as fast as she can, full sail, making her way west. As well as there does look like there's some smoke coming up in the south, very vague on the far horizon and amongst the clouds. There's some smoke, and of course, if you look northeast, you can still see the volcano from here, busy billowing away.
So is this then? Would this be Ethane Vasul then?
Yeah, somewhere there. Somewhere there. It looks like it's somewhere there. The stones suddenly start to shiver, and then they start flying towards each other, sort of uprooting from the spot and building this very crude stone-standing man, which then looks down at you, and this face appears in the rock. It's a very simple kind of face. I believe
Jorik
speak to me.
Jorik takes 2 steps back involuntarily, just like, whoa.
I am the Oakkin of the Druids of Sanctuary.
I'm honored to make your acquaintance. I was expecting a personal meeting, but this will suffice.
I think this is a personal meeting.
I am one with the land, and it is one with me. Speak your mind.
Well, my name is Blaxton Rose. I'm a servant of Brax.
Stones sort of slide over each other as he nods.
And as you undoubtedly know, because my fellow captain has told you, we came here to beseech you for help.
And you have the support of the Druids in your endeavor.
I nod, and we are very thankful for this. What does it entail?
The Druids will support your initiative to fix what has been broken. If, after the passing of a century of time, this has not been achieved, we will take matters into our own hands. He says, sort of bringing these large stone hands together with a sort of grinding sound. The air immediately starts smelling of dust as he then sort of lowers his hands down.
And I nod. Well, I don't have that kind of time anyway. And I continue. Political support is much appreciated. Are there other ways of more direct support that you can offer us?
What would you have of us?
Well, depending on how things go, this could be an ugly affair.
We are prepared for war.
Okay. And I nod and say, are there any more direct benefits that you can give us? For one thing, due to the information we learned, we will no longer allow any flying due to the technologies that are at the root of the problem.
Again, there's the shaking of the nodding of the head and the gravel that sort of drifts down onto you.
But this leaves us somewhat vulnerable as well. And is there something you can help us in that regard? I know many different empires were searching for their own methods of transportation, and alleviating these problems, I would imagine, would go very well with solving, well, the root of the problem, which was the decision that was made, this incredible travesty.
If you seek out druids and their groves, they will assist you in moving about Brexir speedlier than conventional sails, but only the 5 of your crew.
I nod. That will certainly be a great help for us to solve issues if they arise. Now, you said you are willing to go to war over this issue, and I agree. This is something that cannot stand for the long run, and if we fail, something of this magnitude might be needed. But
looks over at Yukon. I like this one, Con O'Dana.
That's a relief.
But again, if you have the ability to move about in a fast way, is there a way for a more permanent cooperation on a larger scale in the future once the problem has been fixed?
Druids will be able to pass without hindrance over great distances. Any army that has that capacity is nigh indefeatable. What more could you want?
All right, then let me lay it bare. The reason why this stupid decision was made is because there was a perceived necessity for it, which I don't see, but I get the allure of fast traveling, because if something might happen and the order needs to act, it needs to be able to react swiftly. From what I understand, you could help us to solve this problem in the future?
As I said to Con O'Dana, the Druids are willing to adopt the responsibilities of the Orders. We will protect the anchors far greater and better than the Orders ever could.
But this would also need the cooperation of all the other empires, and I am pretty confident.
That is not necessary.
Oh, well, in that case, I think we disagree on this point. And in the past, maybe and I don't actually know how long he's in office, right? In office, so
Right.
at least in the past, you seem to agree on this. I speak as the people of Druids, right?
We agreed to the order of the treaties because there was a moment of elation in removing the dragons from their position of power. We agreed to allow the others to contribute to the protection of the anchors in the interests of national and international peace.
Right.
If the other empires are not capable of fulfilling these duties, we will not hesitate to fulfill them ourselves.
Well, thus
They
far,
have been.
everything... Go ahead.
They have been. We've enjoyed a very long period of peace. The empires are doing their bit for the most part. We cannot rely on nation states to always keep the peace. But they've played their part. This is a failure of leadership within the order itself. The governments of the various nation states that have formed and signed this treaty cannot be held responsible for this. Everyone, even us, the captains of the order, are held in ignorance of the deepest of the secrets that seem to be held, which now we know makes everything seem to be worthless. But I would argue that it's not, that what we have is an order across the world that for the most part is working.
And it is worth preserving as well.
Right.
And
the
maybe
vampires are a stain on this world, but they are
The
not.
stones grind together at the mention of vampires.
and I kind of lift my hand to kind of soothe this golem. And I say, but even if you would take over, this would leave you weakened for sure anyway, and I don't think this could be in your interests at all. The status quo is somewhat, well, as I said, worth preserving. We have not failed. There were decisions that were made that are wrong, and we aim to solve those.
You have a century to prove your claims. There was mention of a demon.
Yes. Well, as I said, I am a servant of Brax, and he, at times, grants me certain insights. While we were fighting the vampire, and your druids stood ashore and looked, I was able to gather the information that he was possessed or part of a symbiotic relationship, perhaps, of an old infernal servant.
The stones grind not as badly as when you mentioned vampires, but
Whose name I will not speak in these lands.
Valenhold, he mutters. Valenhold is the religious capital of Braxia. It's located in central Brunei. All of the great religions have a temple there, to the point that the entire city is basically a giant temple. They always seem to meddle with the affairs of our plane.
And upon killing this beast, we found artifact of worship and magic. And I kind of, if you want, I can...
Trinkets do not interest me. The priests of Valenhold will need to hear of this. If the demons are attempting to make landfall once again, they will need to be stopped. They do not concern the Druids, however. That is not our area of expertise. Valenhold, they always manage to get in there somehow. He sort of grumbles. Are we done?
Is there a manner, a means by which we can maintain contact?
Find the circles, he says, and the stones start to fall back into their sockets. And the last you hear as the whole thing sort of dissembles is Valenhold.
Yeah, we get it. 1, 2, 3, right?
He doesn't like Valenhold. Traditionally, the Druids have always been seen as a weird part of the religious orders. They worship a lot of different gods. The Druids don't sort of single out a particular god of nature, for example. They worship quite a wide range of them, whereas the religious orders, they each represent a god. So the Druids are seen as a bit hippie, and as a result, they're not invited to the religious convocations and things that happen.
Aww.
Maybe they can do the catering or something.
They're terribly stuffy, not missing anything.
What?
We druids know how to do a religious festival.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, the Druid religious festivals are much happier, much more entertaining.
Everyone becomes trees and just stands around. It's great.
Oh, no.
But at least they're naked trees.
Festival. Midsummer.
Yes.
And I'm
Nonetheless,
not.
did the two
Ryan's
of you
in
head
the
back
names.
to the ship?
Yeah, on the way back, I say, like, thoughts? I agree.
Seems very difficult to get any straight answers out of them, man.
So, as Supreme High Lord of the New Order, I think the first thing in order, oh God, what are we going to do?
Well, it also seems to be hard to get actual...
Well, at least we got the promise of this form of faster travel.
Which could be...
Something you know
Helpful.
about, Con? I don't know what you're speaking about.
It sounded helpful.
Yes.
It was fairly new to me. Yeah.
It was above your training sort of exposure.
I wonder
your
how
pay
many
grade.
other groups in Braxia have covert means of teleportation. It seems to me that any new order should be making use of these. Perhaps we can catalogue them all as we go.
So everyone except the order has like.
Yeah, so everyone except us can teleport.
But the druids are passing from one glade to another, and the drow are using however they're doing their thing. We're flying around the world in little
Like
dragon
idiots.
generators in our engine rooms.
Well,
I
let's see.
I
What...
really feel like,
Portals everywhere.
Hey.
but the druids' war drum beating is,
Yeah, what's that all about?
well, I get it. I'm a bit like, so I don't really like vampires or Drakenmoore or any of it, and part of me thinks that war
Vampires.
is always bad and should always be avoided, and part of me realizes that here we stand holding the torches which could light the flames which burn the world down.
Right, let's try
I need
not
to get a
to.
drink.
I think I need to sleep now.
Alcohol and torches go well together.
Right. Okay, so you return back to the ship. The ship repairs. Fangvir informs you will take another 2 days.
I actually will go to some more place else before I return to the ship.
All right, so we'll handle you. Jorik, what are you going to be doing?
No, I'll just talk with Con on the way back.
All right, you're going to be talking with
Druids
Con.
and why they hate vampires and all that
How
stuff.
much vampires suck.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
Right.
the undeath is,
Yes.
is antithetical.
To life, absolutely. So, Kate, what are you going to be doing whilst the ship's being repaired?
Well, if she's gotten the kitchen back in order, she's probably going to fry up a very large breakfast with Heraclon.
Right. Sure.
Hurricane.
Yeah.
Heraclon, and probably help him eat that. Well, help the crew eat that, knowing her. Oh, bacon, eggs, baked beans, black pudding.
Lovely. All right.
Coffee,
so
coffee,
let's-
For everybody who doesn't know, she's an English person.
So, Kate, Adressai, what are you going to be doing whilst?
First of all, I want to actually sit down and have a proper conversation with our little lizard gnome person about how we're going to deal with them in the future.
Right. So, well, he looks at you. Are you going to do your comprehend languages?
Yes. I'm going to sort of settle down.
All right.
Sort of, get some breakfast, sit at a table, sort of give them some nice breakfast and sit down with some as well.
Right.
The rest of the crew is like, there's a lizard in our mess.
Who's that? Is that new too? What is... So, you're outside the cell now. That's new. Look, I don't much want to lock you back up, but We kind of need you to stay on the ship for now, at least.
He looks outside the portals and then he looks back at you. Comprehend languages doesn't allow you to speak in their language, so you're
No.
speaking at him. He looks back at you and he you see his forehead sort of furrowing over in strain, and he says something back. He's like, forgetting. Forgetting. Speak language. Speak language, it says.
I'm trying. Do you want me to do the little dance again? Because I can, but I'm not sure it will help here. Do you mean this one? I get up and I do the little jumpy dance.
It points at that, and it
Do you mean this one?
jumps up and down, and it's going Shangsas, Shangsas,
Shangshas?
Shangsas.
Shangshas. I'm sorry, I don't think this is helping.
Again, he sort of looks at you strangely.
Look, I'm working on getting better at the language spell. I've almost got it.
He's
I
watching.
just need to finish it. But I'm going to take out some paper and I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw a crude version of the Windswift, and I'm going to draw a little lizard, and then I'm going to draw them on the ship, and I need you to stay on the ship, right? So we can help you. Is that all right? You staying here, and then I draw a lizard outside the ship and a big sort of no sign. Is that all right?
It looks down at the paper. It looks at you. It points at the paper. And it says, Pelhranthir.
I'm not sure why I didn't understand that, actually.
You don't know. That's it.
Huh.
That's what it says.
Telhranthir?
Pelhranthir.
Telhranthir.
Pelhranthir. And then
Telhranthir.
sort of points at the paper.
Maybe that's his name.
Is that you? You're Telhranthir?
It looks sideways. It picks up the paper and it sort of points, and then it grabs some of the egg on its nail, and it kind of draws on the
I can have the pencil.
it takes the pencil and it kind of roughly draws out some symbols, which your comprehend languages allows you to understand, and it's written out Tel Huantir, a name.
Okay. Telhranthir. As in tell this person, or the Telhranthir is a name.
T-A-L.
So it's part of this one word.
Yes. T-A-L.
And separate words. T-A-L, and then a new word, H-U-W-A-N-T-I-R.
A-N-T-I-R.
H-U-W-A-N-T-I-R.
Yes.
T-I-R.
Yeah. Telhranthir.
Telhranthir.
Telhranthir. Is it anything?
It points to the paper.
I am very confused right now. I'm terribly sorry. Look, I'm going to get the better spell working. The dance thing. I'm going to get that working. All right. You could stay here, right? In the kitchen. It's very nice and warm, and you've got lots of. You stay right here.
It goes. it sort of moves over. Give me an insight check. It moves over to
sorry.
the stove.
Jenny's insight is extremely low, I'm afraid. Oh, that is 14 plus 2, 16.
As the creature, as you've spent more time with him, he's been getting, his movements are becoming a lot more twitchy. There's a sense that what was the gnome is slowly disappearing quite quickly, and you suspect that's why he no longer understands you. There's definitely the sort of reversion that seems to be happening.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But it seems quite happy curled up next to the fireplace. Hurricane looks at you. If he only eats what he's eaten so far, which is 3 eggs, he's welcome to stay here.
Yeah. Could you just keep an eye on him for me?
I could put him on a leash.
No, don't do that. It's a person. It's a small, odd person. But, I just don't want to lock him back up, all right?
It's all right. Stay here. I will look after him. If he tries to leave, I will call for help if anything else.
Thank you, Hurricane. I'm really glad you're back, by the way.
So am I.
Thank you for the breakfast. I'm going to go and I'm going to sit in my room until I figure out the, what was it called again? It was called Tongues.
Right, the spell you were trying to...
Third level spell, which I should have, prepared by the next morning.
Right. All right, so Blaxton, you were going to go somewhere...
yes, 2 places.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
One specific one and one more general.
All right.
I want to go, if there is, the branch office of the orders.
Yes, there is, absolutely. You head on through to that. They are opening as you arrive.
Good. I come in. I show my identification.
Ah, well, we haven't had a member of your particular order in here in quite some time. Welcome to Denethwold. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we are leaving soon, but I come to get our money.
Yes, right. Well, all right. The sum, how many captains are there on board your vessel?
We have myself and 4 others, and we are due 2 weeks' payment.
Absolutely. And he pulls out this sort of large ledger. You can see that the last entry was about a year ago, and that was signed by a group from the Order of the Anchors. Right. Yes, so if you'll just sign here, he says, and he sort of slides the book over to you.
My 3 little crosses. And kind of sign with name and rank. And
did you bring a chest, or would you prefer it in gemstones? Only that seems to be a bit of currency in these parts. If you're going to the Orcs, for example, they don't accept gold.
Right. Well, it looks like we're going to Athainvasur, so I think...
Oh, then you're fine. I'm afraid I don't have any platinum, otherwise I'd pay you in platinum.
Right. No, it's
right.
coinage should be okay.
Did you bring a chest along? Only I have to deduct it from the total if you didn't.
I can get one. I'll send somebody by later.
Very good. Absolutely fine. All right. Well, is there anything else that we can help you with while you're here?
Yeah, sure. There would be some supplies I would like to inquire about. Do you have any magical implement supplies? How about potions of some sort? Any other business?
Well, there's the usual stock that we have. There's 5 of you, captains. Is that correct? Well,
yes.
We can issue you with 5 healing potions. Not a problem.
All right, great. And I would like to get some information about local blah blah blah, and then I'll get just some general information.
All right. So you're going through that. Blaxton and Con, what are you doing?
Yorick, but yeah.
Sorry. Yes, Yorick and Con.
Going back to the ship.
Right.
Yeah.
You get back to the ship, not a problem.
Explaining to Jorik how the undead are complete, stand outside this great circle of life and death and rebirth that is the essence of nature, and therefore is abhorrent to everything the Druids stand for. Yeah.
Right. Right. All right, not a problem. Anyone doing anything else whilst you are waiting to be repaired? Yes, Jorik, what are you doing?
Jorik tries to find a better armor, because he's realized he's starting to get hit a lot.
Sure,
so
not a
if he
problem.
can find a studded leather armor,
Yeah.
in real life,
anything that's in the you can buy anything. Not a problem.
Then I'll do that. Then head back to the ship.
All right. Blaxton, you said you had another thing to...
Yeah, I want to sell the wares that I got in the Draw Republic.
Right. Okay, so that's all the...
That's why I got the information, right? So I have a little bit of like, okay, where I need to go.
Correct. All right. So, well, it's easy enough to find merchants here. There are plenty of them on the dockside. And I'll give you those numbers.
Yep. I just wanted to kind of say it.
All right.
And I'll buy some other stuff.
Yeah. It's all available. Deneth Wald is a major trading port, so not a problem there. Your 3 days flit by. There's no further contact from the Druids, and they make themselves scarce. Eventually, Fangvir stands back. The Windswift has changed slightly, certainly below the water. Interior-wise, the wood is just a little bit smoother. It looks a little bit greener, as a matter of fact. And there's a definite sense that the ship is it's not breathing because the walls aren't moving. You've made sure of this by sort of putting a coffee mug next to the wall and then sort of watching if it moves or not. But there's a sense that there's a presence on this vessel now where there wasn't one before. But all ship repairs have been done. Fangvir looks at you and says, I hope you tell absolutely everyone that you come across that it was Fangvir who made your ship this way, who improved it, who took it to the next level, who made sure that this is now the very best sailing vessel that you will encounter on the inner sea. I hope that you make sure to tell everybody that and to consider our debt paid, yes?
Yes.
Absolutely. You've done a marvellous job. We couldn't be happier, and we'll, of course, be telling everyone.
Good, he says,
and
takes his leave.
Maybe one day we will have even more work for you.
What?
Well, don't be surprised if I'm too busy. Very popular, you know, he says as he walks off the
Of course.
ship and down the docks. So what are you five doing?
He's the favorite ship, right, on the Sanctuary.
Well, we have our next destination, as far as I understand it.
I want to try to have another conversation with our lizard friend.
Right.
And I'm going to cast tongues on him, not myself.
Okay.
It grants the creature you touch the ability to understand any spoken language it hears. Moreover, when the target speaks, any creature that knows at least one language and can hear the target understands what it says.
Right.
Appropriately, if I wasn't using a spell focus, the component will be a small clay model of a ziggurat, which I thought was
That is interesting. All right, so that's what you're going to do. Are you setting sail whilst Adrasai is doing this?
Yes.
Well, yes, we better get off because
I supervise the
we've got a
crew.
lot to do. A
Has
long
the ship-
list.
Yeah, has the ship changed anything in shape or
Not that
such?
you can see. Certainly as she pulls away, though, she acts very differently. Con, it's almost as if it's a completely new ship.
No flappers.
No
The
flappers.
and a seagoing keel.
Yeah. The flappers are gone. The controls for the altitude are gone.
That's much better.
Thank God for that, Jorik.
I'm going to let you close now.
I'm going to miss flying, definitely, but now that she's had this overhaul, she feels right again.
Yeah,
Trying
she
to
certainly
sail her
sits
forward.
better in the water as she now starts to glide through the water rather than over it. And you start to pull away. You cast your spell. What's the first thing that you say to the creature?
Right, can you understand me now?
Yes.
Yay! I'm so good at this. Right, hi. So what does Tel Juantir mean?
Tell one here.
Yes.
It is a name, of course.
Is it your name?
I thought you were talking about it when you were doing those diagrams.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm not a very good communicator. I was just asking if I could trust you to stay on the ship so that I didn't have to lock you back up because I really don't want to.
I don't care.
No, you don't care if you're locked up or not.
You know the dance. You are in charge.
Of course. That's how it works. I'm sorry. I'm really new at this. Look, There's a lot of questions I have for you.
It
Who
sort of
who
blinked
are
you.
you? Right, can I call you Tell?
You would name me after the great book?
Oh, that's the book. That's the name
And
of
on that note, we'll see you all next week.
Oh,
Thank you.
Gotcha.
There's something we didn't do in the beginning of the session.
What didn't we do in the beginning of the session?
The review of last session.
All right.
Yes. Well, I think last session spoke for itself.
damn it.
Large amounts of death.
evil.
Anyway, thank you for watching the show. If you don't stay for the review afterwards, we'll catch you again next week when we continue and we discover what the creature finally says to Adversary as we move forward. The ship's left Denethwald and off we go. But we're going to do our review now. So Dice of Destiny says that to review, we start with Saket. Saket.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Well, she had quite a interesting beginning of the episode, but a
Right.
very
Yeah, at the end you were just cooking, basically.
yeah, she does that. She does like, well, you know, it's a bit more, you know, it's research, experimentation, in a different way, isn't it? Food.
Right.
Mm.
So what's the goal now? What's going to happen with Saket moving forward?
Well, she really needs to get to section 13, and we have a very long list of things to do, and there's a gulf we need to get to as well. But section 13 is definitely of interest to Saket, mostly because of the order. I have a feeling, or she has a feeling, rather, that there's a lot of answers there. And then at some point we need to go and help Jorik rescue his sister. Maybe we could do it after we've gone to the Gulf. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know. It's, a why in the heart? Is there something we don't know about her relationship with the vampire?
Perhaps.
I'm not sure that was the same name, actually, though.
Who knows? Who knows indeed. All right.
It is
So
bad at spelling.
that's Saket's plans. Adversary, your plans for the future?
Oh, I'm going to strangle you, Kai. That's my plans for the future.
Me? I had nothing to do with it. I can't control time.
No, I know.
That's
No,
one
that
of the
was
things you can do
great.
as Dungeon
That
Master.
was a great finish, honestly. Almost fell off my chair, but that was a wonderful finish. To sort of, it feels good. I'm honestly just excited to next week now. I don't know, just finish this. Get it next week.
Let's just get there.
No, I had a lot of fun, and I got to do some. I was almost useful in a fight, but last time. But honestly, then it just mostly just fun character moments again, and also getting to like bring the story forwards and get the Windswift moving, and interesting possible ally with Druids, and there's just a lot of huge things moving in this episode. It feels like a lot of big wheels are turning.
Right.
Which is a
And
lot of fun.
of course, the ship's now heading hopefully towards that Elvish library.
Yes, which
you've been aiming.
might be.
For. What are your plans when you get there? What are you aiming to do when you arrive?
Depending a bit on how much I find out from our new friend, honestly, how much I actually need to do there. The next episode is going to be me and him talking or something. But now that I have tongues, I can actually include other people in the conversation as well, because I can cast on them as well.
Absolutely.
But oh no, wait, because everybody can understand him, and he can understand everyone because I casted on him, so everyone can join.
Yeah.
Oh, I was inadvertently clever there. But no. Buy spells, I think. There's so many good spells.
Right, and certainly
And
that
this-
library is definitely the place to do it.
So every
Blaxton-
got another 250 gold, by the way.
yes, everyone has
Ooh.
250 gold. Nicely done there.
Excellent.
Just
Yeah. Interesting. Was not able to pin the Oaken down to anything.
well, he offered to go to war for you.
Sure, but that's not really
It's not what
the
you
plan
wanted.
right now.
It's not the plan yet.
I hope it doesn't come to it. But yes, I mean, obviously there was this, and also making at least the 5 of us being able to travel almost instantaneously where we need to be could be extremely beneficial. I assume this doesn't include Drakenmoore, but the other places at least. So that's great, but I wanted to basically solve the problem from the get-go. Would have been nice, but I mean, maybe there's a little bit more convincing, maybe a little bit more of kind of working with other people, getting a little bit more going there, which is totally fine.
Right.
Other than that, a little bit of shopping. I mean, that's basically what happened with my character this session. Where this goes from here, I mean, I guess, depending on how much Jenny finds out or about the book, we maybe don't need to actually go to the place of the in the first place, and we could go to other things and check this out of our list. So maybe
we can stop by and do some shopping. Maybe it was shopping episode.
we had
yeah, we're getting one.
Right. I mean, we will see how much we'll get and if there's a necessity for it or not.
Right.
Valenhold certainly is something new and something Blaxton wanted to go to at some point anyway, but it just wasn't the priority.
Sure.
Still don't think is really right now because the predominant thing is the orders right now, right? So that's kind of the most important thing. We'll see.
Jorik, plans for the future?
Well, Jorik has realized that we're going to be spending a lot of time on the ocean.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah, so he's actually thinking about, he needs a hobby.
You have 1,000 miles to sail.
He's been all business before. Like, the order is his life, more or less. He's always working. He doesn't have off time. And now he's going to have a lot of off time. And it's like, how do you off? What's that?
All
so
right.
his plans are going to be doing But plans for the future, well, he's going to support his crewmates, of course, in their endeavors and do whatever he needs to do. His kind of primary thing right now is his sister. That's what's spinning in his head, but he knows we can't do that now. But that's what's preoccupying him right now. So that's probably his personal plan.
Right.
Go there, kill vampires, free sister, sail happily into the sunset.
That's a pretty good plan. And Lord High Mighty Star-Lord of the new
Star-Lord.
The Druid planet.
I see that you've adopted that title quite happily.
Ironically, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really on plans, list of things to do in life. An interesting episode for Con, because whilst he communed with the allness through his drinking of the sap, probably was the highlight of the whole thing. He's rather disappointed with the sort of base politicking that he ended up engaged with the Oakkin, which has added a new sort of, or should I say, peeled away another layer of the illusion that the world works in some sort of just and ordered way, and that the authorities we all acknowledge as superior are worth the sort of level of respect and before now awe that we held for some of them.
Right.
Are you turning into an anarchist?
No, I'm not a fan of anarchy at all, but yeah, there's a part of Con's personality that certainly kind of feels like, fuck it, let's just smash the whole thing and see what happens. Because we kind of have that ability. We could, with a bit of strategic cunning, we could really rock the world order right now.
What?
Is tempting.
Set the whole world on fire. Just watch.
I have little respect for statehood and governments, and the national interest often seems to involve the grinding down of the little guy and the sacrifice of many more people than the ones doing all the running and machinating. And
yes,
so, yeah, Con is in that philosophical, what the hell are we going to do with all of this?
Right. Right, kind of
It's
way.
already going in the wrong direction.
Yes. How do we solve it, or how do we fix it? Anyway, what are your thoughts for the future plans of this whole endeavor? Should they just set the whole planet on fire? I don't know. Anyway.
Also plans?
Plans. Yes. How
Plans?
foolish of me to ask the players what are their
We
plans.
just recently got off the rails. Give us a break here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right,
Anyway.
yeah. Oh yes, plans. A beach hut with a
Liam
vessel
tiny beach
somewhere
hut?
near the equator.
Somewhere near the equator,
Mhm.
near the Athesis Kingdom. Actually, I was given a tip to go and purchase land in a certain gulf. But anyway, until
Right.
next time, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all again next week. Goodbye.